back, everybody. This is SPX 2015. I'm Rusty.
I'm Joe, and here with us.
I'm Matt Silady. I'm the chair of the MFA in Comics program at the California College of the Arts.
Welcome, Matt.
Thanks.
So,
You've traveled quite far to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, well, SPX is one of our favorite shows for folks on the West Coast. We try to get here as often as possible. I haven't been here. Well, I was here 2 years ago and did a quick pass of the floor, but the last time I tabled was maybe 2007.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
So it's a big change with the show from...
It's really grown.
now.
It's beautiful in there. The caliber of the work in that room is as high as I've ever seen at a show. It's really fantastic this year.
So, tell us about your program that you have.
Sure. So 3 years ago, we started an MFA in Comics. It's a fully accredited program. You spend 3 summers in San Francisco, and then your thesis project is a graphic novel.
Nice.
So we just graduated our first class, and we have our MFA in Comics anthology hot off the press. It has 10 excerpts of our graduate students' work.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you going to do publishing for the full graphic novels, or are they maybe going to do that individually, or is that up?
We have a
to
professional practice course where we really kind of take them through the different paths to publication. So some of them are going to do it on their own. They see Kickstarter or self-publishing as really the best financial option for them. Mm-hmm. Others, we have friends in the industry, try to shepherd the projects to the right publishers. I mean, that's a big problem is when some of our students, they're doing this amazing book and they're like, I want this at Image. And you're like, well, that's not a monthly. That doesn't
really Image book. Yeah.
I'm glad I get to teach you more. Here, let me talk to you for a moment.
So part of it is trying to match the students' work with the right home. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, did you have any work come out of it that you were just blown away by? I mean, you don't have to name names, but is there something you just saw? And
Yeah, immediately pick your favorite.
You're like, I wish we could take credit for this.
Oh, we take credit for all of it. No, I'm kidding. Our students are really special. We have no house style. Like, the idea is when each student comes in, we try to find out what does their dream comic look like, and we try to help them get there. So talking about ones that... that is so hard to pick.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No. But in all seriousness, 2 of our students who are here right now, Bex and David Kelly, their work that they have at the table is sensational. Bex is the next Dave McKeon, and David Kelly has been doing strip comics for years. Rainy Day Recess up in San Francisco. Okay. We actually have in Seattle. We actually have a lot of students who are already published cartoonists who come in. But David's working on his first full-length memoir, so I'm really proud of the way he's taken these short ideas and now is filling it out into a real narrative.
That's a very different approach in terms of storytelling, too.
Oh, it is. I mean, gosh, David's got several books out with Northwest Press, for example, but coming into our program, we helped him kind of move his work in a different direction.
Now, did you have anyone, you said you had a number of people that have already published work.
Yeah.
So really they're coming in just for maybe best practices, to be challenged, to learn to do things that isn't in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, there's a couple different reasons. One is to work with our faculty. We have a really amazing faculty. 2 is comics is a pretty isolating experience.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why events like this are so important, is, just try to connect with the community, but we want to help our students do that more than once a year. So, one, it's about being around a cohort like that. But the other thing is a lot of cartoonists want to teach. Yeah. And there are certain avenues for teaching where an MFA is not necessary, but there are certain avenues where it is. So we have several students who've come in just to kind of get on that education track. So that's also really big important.
To learn the ropes of what it's like to teach such a course, and what is good in those courses, what to take from them. And
yeah, I teach 2 courses in the program. The first is on comics theory, but I teach the last course in the program, which is comics pedagogy, where we really spend an entire course just talking about what it means to teach comics and how to do it. And then we actually had a group of international students come in, and we workshop with them for a week. So that's my background is education. I was an 8th grade teacher before I got into comics, and so that's really important to me.
So do you get mostly local people from the area, or do you bring
It's half and half. It's half and half because it's the low residency format where you can just come out for 1 month each year. A lot of our students get their mentoring long distance. We have students in Seattle, Memphis, Ohio. Wow. Yeah, we want to get over to the Cartoon Crossroads events to support those students. So yeah, we have a student who flies in from South Korea every summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
That's awesome.
that sounds very exciting.
Yeah, this is kind of my dream. I came out of education, 8th grade teacher, and I started doing mini comics. And those got published into a graphic novel, and that's when CCA called, and they're like, "We're thinking of teaching comics. Do you have any teaching experience?" And it was like this.
Funny you should ask.
I was like, yeah. I was like, oh. And then it's happened. So.
Now, did you, as an 8th grade teacher, did you ever incorporate comics or similar disciplines into your
Oh, I
schooling?
did. I was terrible. I mean, I always, well, listen, so whether it was U.S. history, where we take the cartoon history of the United States and like white out some of the text, and I turned that into notes that they would take, or I had a kid in my 8th grade class, in my literature class, who'd never finished a novel. Like, it was just that sort of that mental block.
Absolutely.
He could read, but, there's something about that completion of a book.
Yeah.
And during a free reading unit, he said, "Can I read a graphic novel?" And he brings in this. It was the Ultimates at that time,
yeah.
right? So it was the Ultimates, and I'm like, "Okay." And of course, he finished it before anybody else.
Right.
But he came back up and he's like, "Can I read it again?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, of course." So he reads it again, still finishes it before everybody else, and he comes back up, and I was like, "All right, come here, sit down." And so I open this up, and I start trying to ask him questions that you could only know not by just inferring from the pictures,
Sure.
but through the text, and he could name them all. By the end of that, he gave the best presentation he'd ever given, and the next novel, he had that momentum, and he finished it. So I'm sorry, I'm a huge advocate of comics in the classroom.
No,
Well,
that's
I think
fantastic, yes.
it's another utility. It's a tool to connect.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's not that he can't read. It's not
Right.
that he couldn't finish a book, but he has to find a connection. And the graphic novel gave him a road into that world.
Yeah, it helps
Absolutely.
you train that skill set more to
Yes.
focus on the story and to retain the information that you're reading.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Yeah, so that's always been part of the curriculum. I use pages of bone where I'd white out the whole word balloons for a basis for creating dialogue and things like that. And now, since we're in San Francisco, Stanford has invited us and me to come over and give a workshop on how to teach comics to elementary school students to a group of teachers. And Stanford's sponsoring it. And so this is not just a trend. I mean, I think it's really being seen as a 100% legit part of many curriculum. Yeah.
Once it's become so prevalent, more common, then you stop questioning the validity of it so much and just take from it as much as you would any other teaching method.
Yeah, I think it loses that idea that it's a gimmick and it's just one more thing that you can do.
Right.
Oh, sure. And even for struggling readers, if you think about the way that you and I, if we see a word we don't quite understand, we make context with the sentence. Now imagine they're getting the context of entire sentences from the visual information around
Right.
it. It accelerates learning readers. And we actually, if you don't mind me talking about this for one more
No,
moment.
that's what we're here
for.
Okay, great. We actually did a really important event with both the San Francisco and Oakland Public Libraries. And we did a comics day that was geared towards families where English is a second language or English language learners. And the reason for this was sometimes parents whose households speak a language other than English will not let their kids read comics because they're worried that they're going to dumb their kids
It'll
down,
stump their-
right? No,
their-
we want you to read a real book. But what the whole idea was, we split the kids off and had them make comics. And then we took the parents and we really tried to workshop and show them how it will accelerate the learning in their kids. And it felt real. It was kind of a bait and switch. We brought them
Right.
in for the kids, but really the whole thing was
It's
about
what they don't know is.
what they don't know is this is really a workshop for the parents.
Yeah.
So it was a really great success. And our graduate students actually conducted the workshop. So
Well,
that's
when I
awesome.
was a kid, there really wasn't any line between the two. I mean, I was given whatever type of books I thought were interesting. And my mom, she always said, I didn't really care as long as you were reading something. And I think that kind of tears down any type of barriers that you would have with other works, because it all has some type of value to you. Nothing is cut off from something else.
Absolutely. So one of the things about CCA is that when I started teaching there, the one thing about this school was I never had to convince anybody about the value of comics. They sought us out, and when it was time to pitch the graduate degree, kind of gave them the spiel of what we thought, and the president just gave it a thumbs up and said, "Let's do it." And we just haven't looked back. So we had 36 students on campus last summer in 3 cohorts, 12 faculty members, 12 classes. It was pretty great. And if you don't mind, before we go, can I gift this to you?
Oh, wow.
yes.
Okay.
You absolutely can.
Okay, fantastic.
But one thing you mentioned
Yeah.
before the interview I want to touch on is
Sure.
your search for a local comic show in the SPX vein in San Francisco.
Well, in the last several years, San Francisco has lost several shows. WonderCon, due to some conflicts with the large venue they had, moved to Anaheim and now LA. Alternate Press Expo has moved back to San Jose, which is in the Bay Area, and definitely we'll be tabling there. But in terms of like a local San Francisco show, we don't have one right now. So last year, a group that consisted of retailers, publishers, members of the Cartoon Art Museum, myself, we got together and we created an event called the San Francisco Comics Festival, which was a granular event, kind of like a music festival. So over the course of the week, there are 20 events spread out all over the city.
Oh, wow.
And we're looking at this year creating an anchor event that is, I mean, SPX is really our inspiration for it.
I mean, you can do it on a smaller level. It's all about the enthusiasm of the crowd, the audience, and to have people who want to table.
Well, we do have Zine Fest, which is a very DIY, wonderful event. One of our former students, Liz Mayorga, was the executive director, and she did a fabulous job with the show. And there's still a call for that sort of that comic-centric, really diverse group of people coming together. And so we're looking at some spaces.
Well, there really can't be too many places for people to do.
No, there can't.
Because it cultivates a next generation.
All these smaller
interest.
personal shows, yeah.
Because the fan that comes tomorrow, like the first year we went to SPX, we were just there to buy stuff, meet people, and then next year we had our first mini comic, and it cultivates that interest and that ability to say that I am as good as someone else, that I can try, I can make.
I owe my entire comics career to the Alternative Press Expo and the group I met there. We formed a comics and writing group based out of that. The retailers that were involved there, I found my publisher there. I printed my first mini comic. I set up so early at Alternative Press Expo the first time I was there that I was like the only person ready, and I got really nervous and I panicked and I left. I ended up in Trader Joe's, and I remember I bought a plant. I came back and I put the plant down, so all I had was my book and my plant. But I sold 80
That's
copies
awesome.
of a mini that day,
Wow.
and that was the launch. And it's because of shows like this, and that's what we're trying to do again in San Francisco.
That's great. Now, before we let you go,
Yeah.
would you be interested in answering a mystery question?
Of course, I'll answer
Yes.
a mystery
All
question.
right.
Who says no to that?
No one.
Okay.
No one, but we still have to ask.
Oh, do
Yes,
I have
the
to turn the?
ball.
Do I
We
have
have
to,
to
oh, I
get
have to
it
put
in
a, I have to put
order.
a quarter in.
I wasn't prepared this time.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
It's high budget. Quarters are provided.
We recycle them too.
Yes.
We'll empty this machine out.
All right.
It's gonna pour out there.
Yes.
Oh,
Woo.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Do I open it too?
Yes.
sure.
Will you hold that?
Yep.
And what? And what is your question?
My question is, do you even?
We were wondering.
I mean, really?
I mean, really? Oh.
do you even? Can you even?
How do I even answer? Do you?
It begets its own question. How
it
do I
is
even?
let you know
How do
this
do you even know how
This
to
is
answer?
a study-at-home course association with your program. How would you fill in this story?
How would I start this if this was something we give to our students?
I am so interested in what's going to happen now.
Okay, this is so lame, but
Yeah, it is. No, it's not. Don't tell us. It's going to be
Don't
great.
tell
do
me
you
with
even
us.
can the first time I called home and said to my mom I just got offered a job as a professor of comic books, and she just kind of laughed. So do you even know what that's like?
I would imagine it would be like, this is his dream job. It doesn't sound like it is a job.
No, I just don't
I'm
think.
so happy
I don't.
for him.
No, I just don't think she believed me. I think she thought I was drunk or something. Like I'm gonna be a professor of comic. No. But yeah.
What a terrible joke that would be.
Oh, it is. But she's
Scholarly
she's proud.
comics.
She's proud now.
Of
she's,
course
she's
she
proud.
is.
Well, once she saw that it was real.
Once she saw the paycheck, sure.
Yeah.
But bling bling, mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't question this anymore.
She's like, I'll be damned.
I teach
You didn't make
comics.
that up.
So where can people find out about your program online?
Oh, sure. The easiest way is cca.edu/MFA Comics. So if you go to the CCA website, CCA.edu, we actually just launched a companion site to the anthology that shows the work there as well.
Excellent.
So we just want to get everybody's work out there so that they can see it. And since the school prints this for the students, we're just getting on top of a mountain and yelling about how great they are.
And it's its own best advertising to show people,
Oh, the number one question we get when people come up to the table is always, well, what does the work look like? And now we finally can be like, it looks just like this. It looks amazing. Yeah.
And this would be in a pretty book. You could have it in a pretty book. And we'll get you into Image. It's no problem. We have a direct line to Image Comics.
don't oversell.
No, sorry. It's not a direct line. It's an indirect line.
We'll send you straight to
Well,
Image.
we do have a summer guest speaker series, and Eric Stevenson came out and was one of our guest speakers last year, and really,
that's awesome.
just broke it down and talked about what it meant to be part of Image, and Image is Bay Area. It's
sure, yeah.
Based out. Yeah, so they're kind of our hometown.
They're a great company to want to be associated with.
Yeah, and we actually the Bay Area publishers, they come out and they sat on the thesis committees. There's one of our students does manga style work, and we had someone from Viz come in and sit on her thesis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How
So they all have to defend their thesis in front of a professional committee.
And it's
They're
also
like, these
someone
people know what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's it.
who could be associated with their area.
Oh, we
of that
definitely,
comics,
yes,
too.
absolutely. We always try to pair up. We have two of our professors and then an industry expert who sort of has some sort of insight into their particular
How
work.
neat.
So,
Well, thank you so much for talking
thank
with
you.
us.
It was great.
Let's do it. Let's bust it out.
Absolutely.
Bow. Get in there, Russ.
Freeway.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.